So this theme for this whole month is love out loud. So it's like, oh my God. It's something you can't capture in words. Your body knows it. Your body feels it. And so I've got the chills. That's a good sign. And I've got my glasses. That's an even better sign. So today, we're talking about loving ourselves so much. Now, that's something that there's baggage with, self-love. And it's sad because if you can't love yourself, you can't be fully present to love someone else. Because self-love is an appreciation for yourself. It's taking care of yourself, your spiritual growth, your psychological, your physical. It's like I need to be, I'll say it that way. I need to be in good shape to love you full out. If I'm really there and present and excited and energetic, I can be there for someone else. But if I'm going, well, this isn't right, I didn't do this, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny. Well, that's never happened. But, it's like if I'm always like looking for imperfections or something I did wrong, it's like, where's my focus? Hello. It's treating myself like a love being. I am pure spirit. You are all pure spirit. We're all the same thing. We are all love in human form. But the messages out in the world do not reinforce that. And I'm not even going to get into that. Don't watch television. Don't listen to the radio. Don't read a billboard. Don't go to the grocery store. There's all sorts of things. Like, if you lived in a cocoon, you might get it, but maybe not. Because love is at the center of our being. That's who we are. We walk around. I have a love bug at home that I call Zoe, my cat. There is love everywhere. We just need to open our eyes. Byron Katie, who some of you probably have heard of, she says, do you want to meet the love of your life? Okay, go look in the mirror. There are two mirrors. One's in either bathroom has big mirrors. So after service, you don't have to wait till you get home. Some of you may have little mirrors in your purses or someplace. Guys, you might want to borrow one. I don't think you, anyway. So it's so true. It's like, oh my gosh. And then every time we get on an airplane, we get a trite reminder of this, to love yourself first. How many of you even listen to the announcement of putting your oxygen mask on first? Every time they say that, every single time. And it's trite. And I know it's happening because it's happened so many times before. But it's actually a message to us to take care of ourselves first so that we can provide the oxygen, the love, the support to others. Because if we don't have the energy and the wherewithal, we cannot give. And we are giving beings. We truly are. And the other thing about all of us, and I talked a little bit about this already, is that we need to love all of ourselves. That includes the shadows. That includes the bad habits. That includes the mistakes, the imperfections, the goofs, the screw-ups, the whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Everyone has their own little language. That little thing that goes, your little triggers that you goofed up or did something. But those are signs on the road of experience. It's like, hello, stuff happens. And sometimes that's the best thing that could have happened to you. Because you recognize the divinity within when you say, oh, well, wait a second, I'm off track. It tells you that you're off track. And one of the other ways that we can get these messages is through your intuition. I listen to my intuition all the time because intuition is spirit speaking to us. It's a little, there's little messages that come in and it's like, oh, because it's the flow, we're in the flow of love, and then the intuition comes in to reinforce that. Now, do we have a choice? Yes, we can follow the intuition, or we can say, I was going to say a bad word, that's not real, I'm not going to do it. But if you follow the intuition, it's nudging you in the right direction all the time, because it's a loving presence that's guiding us. And it's the most loving choice you can make is to follow it and trust it, because the more you do it, the more you'll get, oh, this always works out. This always works out. So I had to laugh because it just happened real time in here when Shara was talking. Because one of the things I wanted to tell you about was that this last week, I was reading this book called Never Alone, a solo Arctic survival journey by Wania Thibault. And I know her mother quite well. And so I was intense in this book. And she's in the middle of nowhere, totally by herself. And she becomes one with nature. But what's so amazing is that Wendy, her mother, is a friend of mine. So I was done, I was reading, and I took a break. And I went to CVS. I went to CVS, and I walked into Wendy. I walked into Wendy's arms. She was in line waiting to check out. So it's like, so CVS, so if you, be careful if you go to CVS, because there's energy there, there's synchronicities happening, there's intuitions and all that kind of stuff, yeah. So it's just too funny. Then the other thing that happened is I was in SPD market shopping, and I had my list, and everything on my list was taken care of. And this little voice goes, go get some cashews. It's like, oh, okay, because it was at the other end of the store. It's like, all right, I'll leave my basket, and I'll just go get cashews. So I walk into the aisle where the cashews are. How many of you guys shop in SPD? You know where the cashews are? Okay. So I walk into the aisle, and I go, oh, they'll let anybody in this store. Because a friend of mine named Wendy was standing right there getting food for her family. So I ran into another Wendy because I followed my intuition. And I checked, I found out, what does Wendy mean? Wendy keeps showing up. And it's of English origin, and it means friend. And it's like, I'm going, oh, that's cool. I like that. And so it's like, okay. So I'm preparing for this talk, and all this magical stuff is happening. And I'm writing down little notes. Yeah, you'd think I was crazy, but I've got little notes everywhere. And I thought of a story that many of you have probably heard. It's an old story, the leaky bucket story. And so I'm reading this all. And so this morning, I whip out the Science of Mind magazine, and guess what story is in there? The leaky butt story. I couldn't believe it. I'm going, you got to be kidding. Anyway, and just in case you don't get this magazine, it's very cool, and they've just changed it a little bit. So this is September, and this is October. So they've got 2 months in one magazine, and they're over there if you want them. But anyway, so I'm just going to read this real quick for you. Okay. And there's stories. Okay. The woman who carried water home every day from the river using 2 buckets at either end of a bamboo pole. Now, I've heard it with Jewish men, monks, doesn't matter who's carrying the water. One bucket was new and the other was old with splintered wood. When she got home, the new bucket was still full, but the old bucket leaked out half of its water. The old bucket felt bad and useless, apologizing to the women for no longer being able to do its job very well. The woman turned and pointed back to the path she had taken and said to the old bucket, "Do you see all those flowers on your side of the road? Every day you water them. Every day my walk is filled with beauty thanks to you." So even those cracked things that are broken in your life are gifts. They're the cracks the light can come through. You're doing amazing things. You're inspiring somebody that you don't even know about, you may never know about. You don't know. You don't know. And your light is unique. All of us are individuals of the one whole being of love. But we each have our own sense of humor, our own anger, our own joy. All these things, we're unique. And when we're sharing them, you know, we come together and we have potlucks and we laugh and you don't know. We're sharing that love. It's important. And it's healthy too. Because if you can't walk into a place like this and need a prayer or have a heavy heart, oh my gosh, self-acceptance. There are days that it's just not fun to be me. Ask my husband. Oh, he's got his mouth shut. He's such a good guy. So I loved this one, this quote from Buddha. You yourself, as much as anybody in this entire universe, deserve your love and affection. You deserve your own love and affection. And Brené Brown says, owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing that we'll ever do. Because stuff happens that is hard to love. It's hard to love listening to the news. It's hard to love hearing stories of upset and things that are going on. But when we come from love, that's what we attract more of. If you're coming from how terrible it is, you're going to attract more how terrible it is. So if I'm coming from love for all of you, love for my cat, love for the flowers, love for everything, that's what I'll attract more of. So the more we love ourselves, the more the world will be full of love. It ripples out there. How many of you have thought of being your own best friend? What is your self-talk? Do you have things that you say to yourself when something happened? Like I dropped something the other day and I went, "Oh, Madeline." Well, "Oh, Madeline" is not so bad. It's the way I said it was so bad. So it's like your spirit treating spirit negatively. And it's like, oh, what are you saying? Listen to yourself. I don't know how many of you actually listen to yourselves. Your internal dialogue. What's going on there? So the thing that's important after that is to forgive yourself. You're doing the best you can. Forgive yourself and let yourself, it's all right. It's all right. And you've got friends. Go play with your friends. Listen to the world. Listen to the birds. Yeah. And get support if you need it. Prayer, counseling, a dear wise friend could just, if they just witness and listen for you, all that stuff can happen. And it's supportive of you because you're coming from love. You're asking for what you need. I need some love from someone else this time. I'm loving myself by asking for love. Yeah. And love is like a practice. It's not something that just kind of, it can be totally spontaneous, of course, but it's also, if we have a consciousness around it, a conscious practice, that strengthens it. And, you are in a spiritual center, so you've heard prayer, meditation, reading, affirmations, all these tools that we have, and they do work. And the best thing to do I've found, is to have them be a habit. Set them in, like there, I've heard of habit stacks. You have a stack of habits you do in the morning, a stack of habits you do at night before bed. And then it becomes automatic. It's automaticity. You're putting it into your DNA. You're putting it into your body, your mind, your whole being. So some of the affirmations, I mean, you can come up with your own. I love myself to the fullest. The power of love is inside me. I am surrounded by love. My natural loving nature attracts love to me like a magnet. It's just so amazing to practice it. And I do soul collage work, and I do dream work, and I do all these things to open myself up for spirit to come through me and play. How many of you guys actually go play? Carve out, schedule it. How many of you have a calendar? Hello? It could be all kinds of calendar. But put playtime on your calendar to nourish your soul, your love. You love yourself. You should play. You should read the Science on Man magazine once a day. That could be part of your stack. And gratitudes. Recognizing it, seeing it, manifesting it. I do gratitudes by text every night, and I talk to my husband every night. I say, what are you grateful for? And we trade off. Every night, unless I fall asleep before he gets, But the thing is it's a practice. And like I said, mentioning before, my little love bug, Zoe, my cat. And I know out there are lots of dogs and cats and maybe rabbits and birds. And we have deer and turkeys who walk through and bobcats and bears. But the animals, you can love, if you can't pet, don't pet them. But pet your little animals. Because that's pure love. And you're loving the animal and you're loving yourself. Oh my God. It's a pocket. It's a cocoon of love. And another, and there's volunteering you can do. There's so many things you can do to express love for yourself and for others. I'm a court-appointed special advocate, which is working with foster kids. And I do it for them, but I mainly do it for the love for myself. Because I feel so much love and care. And that I'm making a small difference to that little girl's life or that little boy's life. And I know that Shara has done a lot of work in this area, not with CASA, but others. She told that story about her friend. Yes, the difference you can make in your life and in other people's lives by loving yourself. So what I'd like to do is I want to have you close your eyes, if you feel comfortable. Yeah, just kind of, and breathe a little bit. And I'm going to ask you a couple questions. And these questions, there's going to be homework. So there's homework with these questions. So be thinking about that part. But go ahead and rest a little bit for there and just surround yourself with some love and appreciation for your body. It got you here and it's so wonderful. So here's the first question. What phrase of self-reproach do you want to let go of? What phrase of self-reproach do you want to let go of? What would feed your spirit? What would feed your spirit? How may you show more love for yourself? How may you show more love for yourself? What do you love to do, experience? What do you love to do or experience? And here's the last little question, and this is your homework. Of all you thought of, what do you want to commit and promise to yourself to add or to shift? One thing to commit to. And later you may want to share it with somebody, because sometimes that reinforces it. But what one thing do you want to shift? You can let something go, or you can add something in. What is loving for you? Okay, and when you're ready, you can come back, because now you know what you're going to do for the next week or so. Yeah, it's important to put that self-love into action in some way, shape, or form. And I want to share this one last quote, and then we'll sing. Love is the essential existential fact. It is our ultimate reality and our purpose on earth. To be consciously aware of it, to experience love in ourselves and others, is the meaning of life. From A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. So thank you all, and I love you, and I would love you to love yourselves this week and going forward. And I know that Billy and Juanita are going to have a lovely song for us.